The alarm blared at 3:17 a.m., jolting Commander Alan Carter from his sleep. He stumbled out of bed, heart racing. Only one thing triggered that particular alarm. "Please be real this time," he whispered, pulling on his uniform. The halls of Moon. Base Alpha buzzed with activity despite the hour. Scientists and officers rushed through corridors, their faces showing a mix of shock and joy. Alan pushed through the crowd into the main control room, where screens lit up the darkness. "Status report," he ordered, his voice steady despite his shaking hands. Chief Communications Officer Susan Miller looked up from her station, tears in her eyes. "It's real, sir. After all these years, we got an answer." The room fell silent. For over a century, humanity had been sending messages to the stars. They had built colonies on Mars and mining stations on Jupiter's moons. They had sent 50 deep space probes to nearby star systems, and they had waited, hoping they weren't, alone in the vast emptiness of space. Now, finally, someone had answered. "Show me," Alan said. Susan tapped her screen, and a signal pattern appeared on the main display. It came from Kepler 438, about 50 light-years away. The pattern contains math sequences, atomic structure diagrams, and what we think are images of the aliens themselves. Dr. William Hayes, the base's top expert on alien languages, pointed to strange symbols at the end of the message. "They call themselves the Lumina, and they're excited to meet us." Alan studied the strange waveforms. "Are you sure this isn't a hoax? Or a misunderstanding?" "We triple-checked everything," Susan said. "This is 100% an artificial signal from another civilization. It directly references our Arecibo message from the 2020s. And look at this," William added, swiping to a new image. "We reconstructed what they might look like based on the data they sent." The image showed creatures unlike anything in human science fiction movies. They had see-through bodies that glowed with inner light. Multiple branch-like arms extended from their main trunk. Where a human would have a head, they had clusters of small orbs that might be eyes or sensors. "They look like walking trees made of glass," one technician whispered. Alan leaned forward, fascinated. "How advanced are they?" William's face grew serious. "That's the interesting part. Based on the signal strength and technology markers, they're far behind us. Maybe 300 years behind our current level. The signal suggests they've only just figured out radio astronomy." "You mean we're the advanced aliens in this scenario?" Alan asked, surprised. "Exactly," Susan said. "We're the mysterious beings from beyond the stars to them." The room grew quiet as everyone considered this. Humans had always imagined meeting aliens who were far more advanced, beings who would share incredible technology and wisdom. Nobody had prepared for meeting a younger civilization that might look up to humanity. "We need to be extremely careful," Alan said finally. "History shows what happens when advanced civilizations meet less developed ones. It rarely ends well for the less advanced group." "There's something else," William said, his voice lower now. "Their message contains references to their belief system. They seem to think they're the first intelligent life in the universe. It's central to their understanding of themselves. And now they've discovered they're not," Alan said, suddenly understanding the gravity of the situation. "We just accidentally shattered their entire worldview." For the next 12 hours, the base was a hive of activity. Messages flew between Moonbase Alpha and Earth's governments. Scientists analyzed every detail of the alien signal. Military leaders discussed security concerns. Religious leaders debated the theological implications. By evening, Alan stood before the United Earth Council on a video call, explaining their discovery and the proposed response plan. "We will send a message back today," he told the stern-faced politicians. "Simple, friendly, with basic information about us. Then we'll begin planning a mission to Kepler 438. "Is that wise?" asked the council president, "revealing our location to unknown aliens?" "They already know where we are," Alan explained. "They responded to our message. Besides, they pose no threat. By the time any Lumina ship could reach us, if they even developed the technology, thousands of years would pass." "What about the cultural impact on them?" asked another council member. Finding out they aren't the first intelligent species could destroy their civilization. Alan nodded gravely. That's our biggest concern. We need xenoculture specialists to help craft our messages carefully. The Lumina are about to have their entire understanding of the universe turned upside down. As the meeting ended, Alan returned to the control room. Susan was preparing the response message, while William studied more details from the alien transmission. You know what's strangest about all this? William said quietly. We spent centuries wondering if we were alone, hoping we'd find others out there. Now we have, and I feel almost guilty, like we've taken something precious from them. Alan looked at the alien image on the screen. They were living in a universe where they thought they were special, the first thinking beings among the stars. Now they know different. Just like what happened to us centuries ago, Susan added, when we realized Earth wasn't the center of everything. As they sent humanity's response streaking across light years toward the unsuspecting Lumina, none of them could predict how this revelation would shake the alien civilization to its core. The Lumina were about to learn they weren't the first, and that discovery would change everything for them. 50 light-years from Earth, a strange world orbited the red dwarf star Kepler 438. The planet's surface glowed with forests of crystalline plants that captured the dim starlight. Among these forests lived the Lumina, a species that had only recently learned they were not alone in the universe. Chief Astronomer Ethel clutched the data tablet in his 4 upper limbs. His transparent body pulsed with nervous blue light as he waited outside the great chamber. Today, he would tell his people a truth that would shake their world. They're ready for you, said a young assistant glowing with gentle yellow patterns. Ethel entered the huge crystal cave where the Council of Elders gathered. Hundreds of Lumina floated in the tiered seats, their bodies creating a beautiful light, show of green, blue, and purple glows. At the center sat Elder Nemeth, oldest and wisest of all Lumina, her ancient body barely glowing at all. Approach, Chief Astronomer, Nemeth said, her voice creating ripples in the air that all could feel. Share what you have discovered. Ethel moved to the center of the room. His hands shook as he connected his tablet to the room's display system. Honored elders, respected leaders, he began, his voice steady despite his fear. 3 cycles ago, our deep space listening project detected a signal from the stars. The room remained silent. Space signals weren't new. They had been studying natural radio waves from stars for years. This signal was different, Ethel continued. It contained math patterns, scientific formulas, and images. It was a message, sent by intelligent beings from another world. Now murmurs spread through the chamber. Elder Nemeth raised her limbs for silence. Show us, she commanded. Ethel projected the message onto the crystal walls. Strange symbols and diagrams appeared, followed by images of bizarre creatures with solid bodies and strange limbs. They call themselves humans, Ethel explained. They live on a planet they call Earth, orbiting a yellow star nearly 50 light-years away. Their message shows they have visited other planets in their star system and have technology far beyond our own. The room erupted in shocked voices. One elder stood up, his body flashing angry red. This must be a mistake or a trick, he shouted. The Great Book of Light clearly states that we, the Lumina, are the first and only intelligent life created by the Great Illuminator. Nemeth silenced him with a gesture. Let him finish. Ethel displayed more images. Human cities, human ships, traveling through space, human colonies on lifeless worlds. Their message was sent 50 years ago, he explained. Since then, they've likely advanced even further. And, he hesitated, they've sent us another message. They want to meet us. The chamber exploded into chaos. Elders shouted over each other, their bodies flashing through the entire color spectrum. Some called Ethel a liar. Others demanded the message be hidden from the public. A few younger council members asked excited questions about the humans. Elder, Nemeth finally restored order by flashing a blinding white light from her body. This cannot be true, she said firmly. For 10,000 generations we have known that the Great Illuminator created us first among all beings to bring light to a dark universe. Our entire society is built on this truth. Ethel respected Elder Nemeth, but he couldn't back down. The evidence is clear. The humans exist. They developed technology before us. They are already traveling between worlds while we have barely reached our own moons. If this becomes public knowledge, it would destroy our way of life, said another elder. Our religious beliefs, our social structure, everything would be questioned. We must suppress this information, declared a third, for the good of all Lumina. We cannot hide the truth, argued a younger council member. These humans have contacted us. They may visit us someday. We must prepare our people. The debate raged for hours. Ethel stood silently, watching as the leaders of his world struggled with a truth that changed everything they believed about themselves. Finally, Elder Nemeth spoke again. We will form a special committee to study this matter further. Until we decide how to proceed, knowledge of this signal is forbidden to anyone outside this chamber. She fixed Ethel with a stern gaze. No one must know about these humans. Ethel bowed respectfully, but his glow showed his disappointment. As you wish, Elder. But I believe hiding the truth will only make things worse when it eventually comes out. As he left the chamber, Ethel looked up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, beings called humans were preparing to visit his world. How would his people react when they couldn't be hidden anymore? Meanwhile, on Earth, 20 years had passed since the discovery of the Lumina. Humanity's first interstellar ship, the Horizon, neared completion in orbit around Jupiter. Commander Alan Carter, now with gray in his hair, floated through the ship's massive corridors. At nearly a mile long, the Horizon was the largest vessel ever built by humans. Its powerful fusion engines would carry 200 crew members to Kepler 438 in just 15 years. How are the final tests coming along? He asked, entering the bridge where Susan Miller worked at the communication station. All systems are green, she replied with a smile. We'll be ready for launch in 3 weeks. Alan looked at the main screen showing the distant star that was their destination. Have we received any more signals from them? Susan's smile faded. Nothing in 8 years. After the initial excitement, they just stopped responding. Strange, Alan said. I wonder what happened. William Hayes, now the mission's chief science officer, joined them on the bridge. My team has been analyzing all the Lumina messages. We found something interesting in the later transmissions. Signs of disagreement. Different signals sent from different regions of their planet, contradicting each other. You think our messages caused some kind of problem for them? Alan asked. William nodded. Their culture seems centered around the belief that they're the first intelligence in the universe. Learning about us may have created a serious crisis for them. The three friends stared at the viewscreen in silence, thinking about the distant beings whose entire worldview had been shattered by humanity's simple greeting. Well, Alan said finally, I guess we'll find out when we get there. One way or another, the universe just got a lot more interesting. The Horizon floated in space, its huge metal body gleaming in the sunlight. At 1 mile long, it was the biggest ship humans had ever built. Inside, 200 people prepared for the longest journey anyone had ever taken. Captain Olivia Nelson stood on the bridge, watching Earth grow smaller on the main screen. After 3 years of planning, they were finally leaving to visit the Lumina. All systems check complete, reported Navigation Officer Greg Parker. Fusion engines ready for full power, Olivia nodded. Begin acceleration. Set course for Kepler 438. The massive engines at the rear of the ship glowed blue, then white-hot as they pushed the Horizon forward. Slowly at first, then faster and faster, the ship left Earth's orbit. We've cleared Jupiter's orbit, Greg announced 6 hours later. Ready for main burn. Proceed, Olivia ordered. The ship shuddered as the engines reached full power. Stars on the view screen began to stretch as the Horizon approached 20% of light speed, far faster than any human vessel before it. Main burn complete, Greg said finally. We're on course for Kepler 438. Travel time, 15 years, 2 months. Olivia looked around at her crew. They all knew they wouldn't see Earth again for at least 30 years. Some might never return. Begin. Stasis preparations, she ordered. We'll sleep through most of the journey. The ship's computer woke the crew in shifts as they approached their destination. 15 years had passed in the emptiness of space. The horizon had traveled nearly 10 trillion miles. Dr. Peter White, expert on alien cultures, stood in the observation lounge with Captain Nelson. The distant red star Kepler 438 now appeared as a bright spot ahead of them. Still no response to our messages? Olivia asked. Peter shook his head. Nothing for almost 23 years now. It's like they just stopped talking to us. Science. Officer Lisa Brown joined them, tablet in hand. We're close enough to get clear readings on their planet now. Definitely signs of a technological civilization. Cities, power networks, artificial satellites. Any sign of trouble? Olivia asked. Lisa frowned. Hard to tell from this distance, but there are some unusual energy readings. Concentrated bursts? In certain regions that might be, well, they could be weapons. Weapons? Peter looked alarmed. You think they're at war? I don't know, Lisa admitted. But something unusual is happening down there. As the horizon entered the Kepler system, the crew worked nonstop to gather information. They mapped the planet's surface, analyzed its atmosphere, and tried to learn as much as possible about the Lumina before making contact. 1 month later, the ship entered orbit around Kepler 438b. The blue-green world filled the view screens, its surface glittering with crystal forests and shallow oceans. We're picking up transmissions, Communications Officer Dan Reed reported. Definitely artificial, but they're not directed at us. It's their own communications network. Can we decode it? Olivia asked. Working on it, Dan replied. It's complex, not just words, but light patterns and vibrations. Peter studied the planet through the ship's powerful telescopes. I can see their cities, amazing crystal structures that catch and redirect light. They seem to be concentrated along coastlines and mountain ranges. Captain, Lisa called urgently. I'm detecting energy discharges on the surface, definitely weapons fire. The bridge crew gathered around her screen. Bright flashes lit up several regions of the planet, concentrated around what appeared to be major population centers. They're fighting each other, Peter said softly. But why? Olivia made a quick decision. We need more information before we make contact. Prepare a stealth probe for launch. We need close-up images and better data on what's happening down there. The probe dropped away from the horizon, its special coating making it nearly invisible. It entered the planet's atmosphere and began sending back detailed images. The crew watched in silence as pictures appeared on their screens. Crystal cities damaged by fighting. Lumina gathered in large groups, their bodies flashing patterns of red and orange. Strange weapons that fired beams of focused light. Look at these markings, Peter said, pointing to banners carried by different groups. 2 distinct symbols. This group has a circle with straight lines. It might represent their sun. The other group has a circle with curved lines, maybe representing stars or space. They're fighting over us, Lisa realized. One group accepts our existence, the other denies it. The probe continued gathering data for 3 days. By analyzing transmissions and observing the conflict, the ship's computer pieced together what was happening. It seems there are 2 main factions, Peter explained during the briefing. The traditionalists, led by Elder Nemeth, believe humans either don't exist or are a test from their god. They've been destroying communication equipment and attacking those who accept our reality. And the other side? Olivia asked. They call themselves progressives, Peter continued. Led by Chief Astronomer Ethel, they want to communicate with us and learn from humanity. They've been forced into hiding in remote regions to escape persecution. Olivia stood at the viewport watching the beautiful world below. They had come 15 light years to meet a new civilization, only to find it tearing itself apart over their very existence. We need to contact the progressives, she decided. They've been waiting for us for decades. Maybe our arrival can help end this conflict. Or make it worse, Lisa warned. The traditionalists might see our arrival as the ultimate threat. We didn't come all this way to hide in orbit, Olivia said firmly. Prepare a landing team. We're going down there. As the crew prepared for humanity's first meeting with the Lumina, none of them could predict how deeply their arrival would shake the alien world's foundations, or what secrets they would discover about the true history between their species. The small shuttlecraft broke through the clouds of Kepler 438b. Inside, Captain Olivia Nelson and 5 crew members watched as the alien landscape came into view. Crystal forests sparkled below them, catching the red light of the star and breaking it into rainbows. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Peter White, staring out the window. "And dangerous," reminded Security Chief Frank Wilson, checking his non-lethal stun weapon. "Remember, half the population thinks we're either fake or evil." The shuttle pilot, Lieutenant Kate Harris, pointed to a mountain range ahead. "That's where we picked up the progressive signals. There's a hidden base in those caves." Olivia studied the tactical display. "Any sign of traditionalist forces in the area?" "Nothing close," Kate replied. "But they have patrols everywhere. We need to land quickly and stay hidden." The shuttle dropped toward a small clearing near the mountains. As they descended, they saw the crystal plants up close, transparent structures that looked like glass sculptures, pulsing with inner light. With a soft bump, the shuttle touched down. The team put on their breathing masks. The air was safe but had different oxygen levels than Earth, and prepared to exit. "Remember," Peter said, "the Lumina communicate partly through light patterns. Watch their colors. Blue means calm, green means friendly, red means anger or fear." The team stepped out onto the alien world. The gravity was slightly weaker than Earth's, making them feel lighter. The air smelled like cinnamon and metal. "Movement in the trees," Frank warned, pointing to the crystal forest edge. Several tall, transparent figures emerged cautiously. They had trunk-like bodies with 4 upper limbs and 2 lower ones for walking. Their bodies glowed with nervous blue and yellow patterns. One stepped forward, glowing slightly greener than the others. "I believe that's their way of showing friendship," Peter whispered. Olivia stepped forward, hands open. "We come in peace from Earth. We are humans who received your messages." The lead Lumina's body flashed with bright patterns. The translator device on Peter's belt converted the light and vibrations into words. "Welcome, humans. I am Ethel, Chief Astronomer. We have waited many years for this moment." The meeting was tense at first. Both species studied each other with wonder and caution. The humans marveled at how the Lumina's transparent bodies showed their inner organs, pulsing light chambers and flowing liquid pathways. The Lumina were fascinated by the humans' solid bodies and especially their faces, which could show emotions without color changes. Ethel led them to a hidden entrance in the mountainside. Inside was a vast cave system filled with Lumina technology. Hundreds of the aliens worked at crystal computers or tended to strange growing machines. "This is our main progressive base," Ethel explained. "We have hidden here since the conflict began." In a private chamber, Ethel showed them maps of the planet. Red dots marked traditionalist strongholds, while green showed progressive territories. "When we first received your messages," Ethel said, "many were excited. But Elder Nemeth and the religious leaders claimed you could not exist. Our sacred texts say we are the first and only intelligence created by the Great Illuminator." "What happened then?" Olivia asked. "At first just arguments. Then Nemeth seized power. She called us heretics for believing in humans. She destroyed our communication equipment and arrested scientists who supported us. That's when we fled to the mountains." Peter looked troubled. "We never meant to cause a civil war." Ethel's body turned a thoughtful purple. "You did not cause this. You merely revealed a truth we weren't ready to face. The real problem is that our society was built on a false belief, that we were first and special." A young Lumina rushed into the room, body flashing urgent red patterns. "Traditionalist forces approaching. They've tracked the human shuttle." Outside, alarm sounds echoed through the caves. On the monitors, they saw armed Lumina vehicles moving through the forest toward their location. "They found us," Frank said grimly, checking his weapon. "We must evacuate," Ethel decided. "This base is no longer safe." "This is our fault," Olivia said. Let us talk to them. Maybe we can stop this conflict. Ethil's body flashed alarmed patterns. Impossible. Nemeth has declared all humans must be captured or destroyed. She calls you demons sent to test their faith. As they prepared to flee, Peter studied ancient writing carved into the cave walls. What are these symbols? They look different from your modern language. Ethil glanced at them. Very old writings from before recorded history. Our archaeologists believe they tell of visitors from the stars long ago. Peter took pictures with his device. May I study these? They might help us understand your culture better. Meanwhile, Olivia contacted the horizon in orbit. We need extraction. The situation has become hostile. Captain, Science Officer Lisa Brown responded from the ship. I've been analyzing their historical records. There's something strange about their oldest texts. They contain descriptions that match human physical features. Solid bodies, 5-fingered hands, upright walking. What are you saying? Olivia asked. I think humans might have visited this planet before thousands of years ago. These descriptions are too specific to be coincidence. The revelation stunned everyone. If humans had been to Kepler 438b in the ancient past, the entire situation changed. Perhaps the Lumina's belief that they were first wasn't entirely wrong. Maybe their religion had incorporated those early human visitors as divine beings. As the team rushed to evacuate, dodging weapons fire from approaching traditionalist forces, they realized the truth might be more complex than either side knew. The real history connecting humans and Lumina might be far older and deeper than anyone had imagined. Captain Olivia Nelson led her team through dark crystal tunnels deep beneath the mountain. Ethil and a group of Lumina guided them, their bodies glowing just enough to light the way. Above them, they could hear the sounds of traditionalist forces, searching. Where are we going? Olivia whispered. To our most sacred place, Ethil replied, his body pulsing with soft blue light. The Chamber of Origins. If answers exist, we will find them there. The tunnel opened into a massive underground cave. Unlike the other parts of the base, this chamber was ancient. Old carvings covered the walls, and at the center stood something that made the humans freeze in shock. Is that? Dr. Peter White couldn't finish his sentence. In the middle of the chamber, partly buried in crystal, sat an unmistakable human object, a space probe. Its metal body was weathered by thousands of years, but the shape was clear. And on its side, barely visible, was writing in an ancient human language. The sacred messenger, Ethil explained. It fell from the stars before our written history began. Our oldest stories say it brought knowledge from the great illuminator. Peter approached the probe slowly, his hands shaking. He brushed away crystal dust from the faded writing. I can read this, he said in amazement. It's an old Earth language, Latin. The team gathered around as Peter translated, Voyager 9, launched from Earth 2089. That's impossible, Security Chief Frank Wilson said. Earth didn't have interstellar capability in 2089, and even if we did, it would take thousands of years for a probe from that era to reach this star. Science Officer Lisa Brown, who had joined them from the horizon, scanned the probe with her devices. The metal is definitely Earth-made. And look at this. She pointed to a small compartment that had been opened. This contained data storage, the kind used to carry messages to alien civilizations. Ethil's body glowed with excited patterns. The oldest Lumina texts say the messenger spoke with lights and sounds when it first arrived. It taught us mathematics, music, and showed images of strange beings. Humans, Olivia said softly. It showed your ancestors what humans looked like. But how did it get here so fast? Frank asked. And so long ago? Lisa's face showed sudden understanding. A wormhole. Scientists theorize they might exist, but we've never found one. This probe must have entered a wormhole near Earth and exited near Kepler 438, thousands of years ago. The implications were staggering. A simple Earth probe, meant to explore the solar system, had accidentally traveled through space and time to become the foundation of the Lumina religion. So the great illuminator in your religion, Peter began, was human civilization, Ethel finished, his body pulsing with complex emotions. And your probe became our first teacher. A loud explosion rocked the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. They've found us, Illumina Scout reported, body flashing alarmed red. Traditionalist forces are breaking through the upper levels. We need to get this information to Elder Nemeth, Ethel said urgently. If she understands the truth, that humans didn't just exist before us, but actually helped shape our early development, the fighting might stop. Can we contact her? Olivia asked. Not from here. We would need to reach the central temple in the capital city. Another explosion, closer this time. Our shuttle can't break through their air defenses, Frank warned. And the Horizon can't risk firing from orbit, Olivia added. We need another way. There is one, Ethel said. His body glowed with determination. The ancient tunnels run beneath the entire continent. They lead to the central temple. They were built ages ago when the probe first arrived. They quickly gathered essential equipment and evidence from the probe. As they prepared to leave, Peter noticed something else in the chamber. A small display case containing what looked like ancient recording devices. What are these? He asked Ethel. The original records made by our ancestors when the messenger first spoke. We've never been able to access them. The technology is too damaged. Peter carefully took the devices. Our ship might be able to recover the data. It could be the final proof we need. The group hurried through narrow tunnels, traveling deeper beneath the planet's surface. The journey took hours, with traditionalist forces searching everywhere above them. Finally, they reached a huge underground chamber beneath the central temple. Ancient stairs led upward. The temple is directly above us, Ethel said, but it will be heavily guarded. As they debated how to proceed, they heard footsteps from above. Everyone hid behind crystal columns, weapons ready. A group of Lumina descended the stairs, led by an elderly figure whose body barely glowed at all. Elder Nemeth, Ethel whispered in shock. The elder Lumina looked around the chamber, then spoke calmly. I know you are here, Ethel. You and the humans. Please show yourselves. I wish to talk. Cautiously, the group emerged from hiding. Elder Nemeth studied the humans with wonder in her dim glow. So you are real, she said finally. Not demons or illusions. We never meant to harm your people, Olivia said. We came in peace. I know that now, Nemeth replied. Her body pulsed with regretful blue. Our archaeologists found more ancient records in the temple archives, records that spoke of the messenger from Earth. I didn't want to believe it, but seeing you now. Lisa stepped forward with the recording devices they had found. Elder, we believe these contain the original messages from our probe to your ancestors. With your permission, we'd like to try to recover them. For the first time in generations, traditionalists and progressives worked together. In the days that followed, human technology helped recover the ancient data. The recordings showed Earth as it was in the 21st century, along with basic knowledge the probe had carried. The truth united the Lumina people. They had not been wrong about being special. They had simply misunderstood how. They were the first civilization directly shaped by contact with another world. Their religion wasn't false. It had simply forgotten its true origins. As the Horizon prepared to leave orbit weeks later, Captain Nelson stood on the bridge watching the beautiful crystal world below. It's amazing, she said to her crew. A random accident sent our probe through a wormhole to shape their entire civilization. And thousands of years later, we follow and discover the connection. Maybe it wasn't random, Peter suggested. Maybe there's a pattern to how civilizations meet across the stars. On the planet below, humans and Lumina had begun a new chapter of friendship and shared discovery. Together, they prepared to explore the galaxy, searching for other civilizations. That might be part of their intertwined cosmic story. The end.